Hello and welcome back to All About the Smokies. In this video, we're going to do a little bit of an interview, something we've not really done before. We're going to talk to the mayor of Sevier County, Larry Waters. Let's get started. For those not familiar with you or your background, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am the Sevier County Mayor, and I've had the opportunity to be in office since 1978. And it is an elected position. I run every 4 years, and it was changed in 78 from county judge to county executive. And then about the year 1998 or so, it was changed from county executive to county mayor.
Okay. So you're over Sevierville, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. Is that accurate?
Over the county, each of those cities have a city administrator or a city manager, and they also have a mayor who is not full-time, a part-time mayor, and but the office of county mayor, Sevier County Mayor, is a full-time position.
Okay. All right. So the fire obviously that just recently happened in Wares Valley was a major concern for local residents, those that were, worried about losing businesses, worried about losing homes, lives. And it was also a big fear for those who visit the area and love it very much. Give us an overview of the damage and the end result of this most recent fire.
Yeah, okay. With the fire, First, let me say we were in what they call a red flag period. That's when the National Weather Service determines that conditions are conducive to fires. That's when we expected. We had very low humidity during that period when the fires occurred, as well as we had expected of high winds and wind gusts up to 70 to 80 miles an hour during that period. With the rain was not expected immediately and was expected to come later, but we were in that period when a fire was reported. And it was reported about 11 a.m. on that Wednesday morning. Obviously, because of the weather conditions, it was immediately a great concern to everyone, and particularly my fire administrator and my emergency management team. Were very concerned when they first heard about the fire, and we started immediately marshaling resources, beginning with the resources here in the county. Then we moved to resources more in the East Tennessee region, and as the day progressed, called in resources actually from all across the state. We also had state forestry participating in the event, as well as we had some elite teams from the national park that participated in controlling the fire.
And when we think back to the 2016 fires, were there certain lessons that were learned that you were able to apply to reaction this time?
Absolutely. What I have said about these events is that unfortunately, almost every area has a disaster at some point in time, whether it be fires, floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, whatever it may be. And what you do is if you are having to respond to these disasters, is you take that disaster, whatever it is, after it's over, you evaluate the response from every aspect, and then you take whatever steps that after the evaluation, whatever steps that appear that you need to improve your response. And we did that after the 2016 fires. We'll do it after this fire as well. But we learned several things. We had several recommendations. You also look at what you did right, which we did after the 2016 fires, and what you can improve on. A couple of the things of significance that we were able to improve on is one of them was the ability to locally call for evacuations. In the 2016 fires, the state law had indicated that we had to get approval from Nashville out of the governor's office to do evacuations. After that, the state legislature changed that to where the county mayor can approve evacuations, which was a big plus, because in 2016, the fires destroyed some cell towers and our communications went down. And that proved to be problematic when we were trying to communicate with Nashville. The second thing was the iPause, which is your phone alert. We had to get that from Nashville in 2016, and we had issues because the cell towers were down. So we applied for the ability to do iPause locally, and we were able to do that phone alert locally, and that really helped in our evacuation process. We've also been pushing Code Red to have everyone sign up both on their cell phones and home phones for Code Red, in which we push out any emergency notification. We push that in the county. We purposely tried to encourage communities to do what's called FireWise, which is prepare those communities for fires. And actually the Shagbark community was a participant in that, if I'm not mistaken. So those are just some of the steps that we've taken since 2016 to try to improve our emergency response based upon, we had an international firm come in 2016, Gatlinburg and Sevier County, to review and make recommendations and determine what we did right, the improvements. So we had those recommendations.
So visitation, has gone up by the millions over the last few years, up to the national park was a record over 14 million visitors just last year. How has this increased visitation changed Sevier County?
Well, as we increase visitation, we also increase areas that are impacted by this increase in visitation, and also an increase in population. So we have areas that in the past we would term purely rural areas, farming areas that have slowly but surely become more urbanized. We have a number of 6,000 to 7,000 cabins out in the various areas of the county, overnight rental cabins, and a big portion of those are in the Weyers Valley area. We've also had an increase in population in that area. So these areas have become more urbanized, and as they have become more urbanized, we have tried to provide services to our citizens and our visitors. And one of those services is that we look at ways to be better prepared in the case of an emergency in these areas. And so that's part of our effort. And that's because of this increase in urbanization that we've had in the county.
And with this increased traffic and both visitors and new folks move into the area, of course, it brings with it traffic issues as well. Are there any plans coming to help alleviate some of the traffic issues that plague?
We are, we have a transportation board made up of myself and the city managers that meets monthly. We have a transportation consultant on board. It's a consultant we've had for many years, CDM Smith and Associates. And we have, in 1994, we had Governor Sunquist that approved a plan to build roads in Sevier County that is now almost complete, and that was since 1994, but it's been in excess, well in excess of $500 million that the state has spent. We have recommended a new plan to the state just a couple of years ago, an updated plan done that has been completed by our transportation consultants to the state and asked them to do some funding. And we actually got one of the projects funded in this year's budget, which is an extension of Veterans Parkway. And how we got that funded and moved up the priority list on the state is the counties and the city have agreed to do the engineering and right of way on some of these priority roads, that one in particular. So we're going to be paying for engineering and right of way in order to move that project forward. We've applied for some grants in some specific areas. We've got several projects in the county going on. We in particularly applied for the grant in the Wires Valley area. I think we were turned down this time. So we're going to reapply to make some improvements in that area. So we're constantly looking at our transportation system and trying to work with the state, since that is a state road, and a lot of these are state roads, working with them to make improvements on traffic flow.
So is there any project or anything coming up in Sevierville that you're particularly excited about or anxious to see come to fruition?
We have a number of new businesses on the drawing board in each of the cities. We've had FedEx has just recently opened a facility at our industrial park, which is beyond the stadium out there. And the 407 exit has certainly taken off with the Buc-ee's, and there's also a French firm that is talking about putting in an amusement park out there. They have one outside of Paris, France, that's very successful, and they're also talking about putting one in at that 407 exit. Those are a couple of the projects that are on the drawing board for that exit in that area, and we're also looking to work with the state to have another exit out there. We're calling now is 408 in order to have better access to that area. Then you come to Pigeon Forge, and they've got a number of. I know they have a resort that is out toward the Wires Valley, but it's still in the edge of the city of Pigeon Forge. That is a $500 million development that's being talked about now. I'm not sure they have their financing, and I think Gatlinburg has something like 1,200 rooms that's being built within the next 18 to 24 months. Sevierville has a new amusement modeled, I think, after Anakeesta that's happening there across from Tanger Mall. So there's several projects going on in the county that that indicate we continue to have economic progress and that our economy is still growing.
That's excellent. Last question. So if you had a magic wand and you can wave it and make anything happen, if there's one thing that you could change about the county, what would it be?
We continue to want to attract tourists. We continue to be appreciative of the fact that a lot of folks look at Sevier County and they think it's a great area to live. So we continue to grow by folks moving in. The one thing I would change is we were, in my opinion, just a little bit late in doing our critical slope rules, which did a lot to protect our hillsides and our mountains. But we were just a little bit late in doing some of that. I wish we would have done that a little bit early and had a little bit more protection of our hillside and mountains, as in the environment is our, I've always said this, environment is really our business here. So protecting the environment is very important, not from just a standpoint, ecological standpoint of where we all think it's important for our future to protect the environment, but from a aesthetic standpoint as well. So, and from a business standpoint here in the county, protecting it means that we're protecting what folks visit this area for. So having done that a little bit earlier, I think would have been better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for taking the time to meet with me.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.